Hello, algebra students. Directions here say multiply, but I say you could have told me that. You didn't have to say multiply. You guys knew that because I'm sure you noticed, or I hope you noticed, that we have a grouping here in parentheses shoved up against another group in parentheses, indicating to us that those two groups are multiplying. Now, I guess you could say, but Kate, that's not the only thing going on here. There's also addition and subtraction inside the grouping. And yes, you're correct. There is. But you can't do that math. You can't add 9z and 2. They're not like terms. First one's a z term. Second one's a constant or a plain old number. You can't subtract 9z and 2 for the same reason. So all we can do is this multiplication. And we learned that we can multiply with groupings that have more than one term in them as long as we pass out every term in the first grouping to every term in the second grouping. So let's do it. Start with the first term, 9z. I'm going to pass it out to both the first and the second term in the second grouping. So let's start with 9z times 9z. 9 times 9, we do our coefficients first, is 81. And then don't forget that z times z is not just z, it's two z's multiplying. We use an exponent to indicate two factors of z. And now 9z times negative 2. Again, we'll do our coefficients, our numbers out front first. So 9 times negative 2 is negative 18, and feel free to do it in your calculator. But you have to remember that there's a z. Your calculator's not going to remind you of that. So 9z times negative 2 is negative 18z. Wonderful. We finished passing out the first term. Now it's time to pass out the second term, a positive 2. So positive 2 times 9z, and yes, I read that as positive 2 when I'm multiplying. Positive 2 times 9z is positive 18z, and then positive 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 or minus 4. And now I did do my multiplication, but now as it turns out, there is some addition, subtraction I can do. After multiplying, I do see some like terms. Negative 18z and positive or plus 18z. Now I hope you realize that if I owe you 18 of something and then I pay you 18 of something, there's nothing left. Our debt is over. We've zeroed out. But you can do it in your calculator if you need to and see that negative 18 plus 18 is 0. So no need to brag about something I have none of. Those two are basically going to cancel out. And what I have left is the z squared term and the constant term. And again, I can't combine those because they're not like, and so I'm done. Final answer is 81z squared minus 4. And you can stop the video now if you're just prepping for the GED, but for those of you who are college bound, just to let you know that this is a special kind of multiplying binomials that you're going to want to keep track of when you end up with only two terms here. The middle one cancels, and we have a perfect square minus a perfect square. That's one of these guys that you're going to have to be aware of. And the pattern, basically, that they're going to want you to notice in college is that when these first two groupings that you multiplied, the binomials that you multiplied, they're identical, right? 9z, 9z, 2 and 2. The only difference is one was plus and one was minus. And that's what's going to happen every time you multiply something like that. You'll always see the middle terms cancel. And so you'll always end up with this, which is called a difference of squares. Little preview to your college classes. All right, you guys, strong work. Super proud of you. You're doing the hard thing. Happy learning.